Okay, so before we got into it, I felt like it was totally necessary to mention this shirt. Done hunting is my cardio for my sister. Thank you again so much. I love it. Looks like Snigglefoot might be joining me for this video. Let's see. Let's get a little closer. Let's get a little. That's better. Let's get a little personal. Okay, so this portion of the video is all about my teen mom story, which is something that I've shared with my friends. Obviously my husband, but it's not anything I ever thought about putting on the internet. But I feel like it's necessary. You guys are my family now, and it's necessary for you guys to know me and where I come from. So let's get right into it. Okay, so I graduated from high school in June of 2007. So we're going to flash all the way back to 2007. That's when I graduated from high school. Shortly after I turned 18, I got my first car. I got my first job that I could get myself to, because it's not that I didn't work, but my mom would drive me back and forth, etc. Anyway, so 18 years old, I just started community college for nursing. I had a job working for that watch company named Fossil. I don't know if you guys are familiar or if you have one in a mall or shopping center in your state. But anyway, I was at the watch store called Fossil. Community college, I had my own car, hanging out with my friends, just living my best life, you know. So one night I was working in Fossil, and a boy came in, a young man came in, and he said to me, "Is there anything fun to do around here?" Something he did just to get the conversation going. But I kind of knew that he was just in there because he, I guess, wanted to talk to me. I don't know. But I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really from around here. You know, I just work out here, because at that time I went to school in a certain part of Maryland, but I lived in another part. So long story short, we're just kind of chatting. We're just shooting the breeze. I wasn't interested in him anyway. So I was kind of trying to figure out a way to get him out of my store nicely. And then his friend came in. Now his friend I was interested in. So his friend came in, and I kind of shifted the conversation from that individual to his friend. So I started talking to his friend, and he happens to be the, I guess, star of this conversation, because he ended up being my first child's father. So we met in the Fossil store in November. So we started dating, hanging out all the time. Everything was great. We were, in my opinion, best friends, just really, really close, really on good terms. He was in school himself. He wasn't in community college, but he was going to a trade school, and he lived in Baltimore City. So he went to a trade school in one city, but he lived in Baltimore City, which wasn't too far from where I lived. Anyway, so we lived close to each other. We hung out a lot. We spent a lot of time together as a couple. So fast forward to starting from November 2007 when we started dating. Fast forward all the way to March of 2008. By that point, I had gotten a new job. I had been fired from Fossil, unfortunately. And I had gotten a new job. I was doing, working for a showing service. Essentially what a showing service is it's a call center. Real estate agents call into the center when they want to show a house to a client. They call us, they give us their real estate ID, and then we give them the code to the house. So essentially we're unlocking houses that have keypads. So that's how the service was being provided back then. I don't even know if that's still a thing. It's 2020 now, so I don't know. But anyway, back in 2008, that was a thing. So I was working there, and Daryl and I were still dating. I shouldn't even use his name. Me and that person were still dating, and it was going pretty good, but it had kind of gotten to the point where, and I'm hoping that this can be a friendly, no judgment zone, but he was doing a lot of extracurricular activities that are now legal in some states. So if you get my drift where I'm going with that. Anyway, he was very heavy into that and a little bit less into just focusing on our relationship and making it better. But he was pretty much my first legit boyfriend. So it's kind of like when you first get into something, you just want it to work. That's kind of what it is. So anyway, I just wanted it to work despite all the the warning signs and the things that I should have ran, the red flags, whatever. Anyway, so in March, I'm working for this showing service, and they call me one day and they say, Christina, thank you, for everything you've done for our company. You're a good employee, but unfortunately, we are closing our doors effective today. So what did that mean for me? That meant I was getting one last check from them based on the amount of time I worked there, which was not long, maybe 2 months. I think I got hired in January. So I got a check to reflect my 2 months worth of service, and I went there to pick up the check, and they were yanking all the computer cords out of the walls. They were unplugging all the phones. They were shutting the whole office down. Absolutely no notice, same day. Okay, now I'm unemployed. Best part is, shortly after that, I find out I'm pregnant. So it's like, I'm unemployed, I'm pregnant. And again, speaking to the hoping this is a judge-free zone, you have to think, from my perspective, the place that I was in, I was no longer in community college. I decided that nursing absolutely was not for me. I couldn't handle the blood. It was not for me. So by this point, I've stepped away from community college, and I am just strictly working. But now I don't have a job. So I don't have a job. I'm pregnant. I'm thinking, okay, I think I want to get an abortion. And I know that's offensive to a lot of people. And no, it's not something I would do today. But we're just speaking to the person that I was, 12 years ago. So back then, I'm like, okay, obviously I'm getting an abortion. I'm in no position to take care of a child. I still lived with my mom, and now I'm unemployed. So I went to my significant other, and I told him what was going on, and he said, okay, I will get you the money for the abortion. So time is just ticking by, and in the meantime, I'm like, well, I still need to get a job. So I found out I was pregnant in April, and then by May, I had gotten another job. This is when I first got my job to be a dog groomer, so this is how it leads into, me working as a dog groomer. But so I got my job. I was a dog bather. That's what I started as. I bathed the dogs. I didn't give them haircuts. So this whole time, I'm not telling my employer that I'm pregnant, because I'm like, I know I'm not keeping this child. So I'm going to bathe these dogs. I'm going to work my way up and become a dog groomer, because by that point, the ladies that worked in the salon had told me, how much money they made, how it worked. I had gotten a grasp on everything, and I'm like, this I can do. I wasn't really sure at that point if I was going to go back to college or how I was going to handle that, but I knew I needed to be able to support myself. So I got into this career, and I'm not telling anybody I'm pregnant because I'm thinking I'm going to get an abortion. My significant other never gave me the money, so fast forward to June. I go to Planned Parenthood. I actually had to take out a loan. I don't even know if they still offer that service today, but back then they let me take out a loan to get the abortion. So I went to Planned Parenthood on my scheduled day. They always do an ultrasound first to see how far along you are. So they showed me, and they were like, hey, you're way too far along to do the kind of abortion where you just take the pill, or something simple where they kind of just go in and remove the child. I was way past that point. They pretty much told me that I had to go somewhere and have a surgery to have the baby removed. Well, immediately in my mind, no. I did not sign up for that. I'm not willing to do that. If it's pretty much a fully formed baby, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to live with myself having an abortion. So immediately my gears have switched. I'm like, I'm going to be a mother. So that same day, I went to my significant other's house. Now, mind you, while I was waiting for him to give me the money for the abortion, I was very, very sick. So I got laid off in March, but like that entire month of April, basically, and all the way, because I didn't get hired to be a dog bather until May 25th. So from about April to May 25th, I was extremely, extremely sick. I was on the sofa for like an entire month. I could not even hold water by that point. I could not drink water. I could not eat. I could not do anything. I was just really, really sick. Like losing weight, nauseous all the time. And mind you, I'm not talking to my mom about it. I'm not talking to my sister about it. I am terrified. And I just, in my mind, I'm like, I got this. I'm going to correct the problem. And that was my intention. My intention was to have an abortion and kind of give myself a clean slate. So fast forward to finding out that I am keeping the child and telling my significant other. You know, he said, okay, everything's going to be okay. We're in this together. Okay, so I'm like, all right. So I go back to my employer. I'm like, I'm pregnant. Because by this point, it's like the jig is up, right? I have to be honest and let them know what's going to happen to me because the baby was due in December. So I'm like, it's June, going on July, so it's time to go ahead and let them know. So I told them, and they were really understanding. It wasn't an issue. I was able to keep my job. I would say being pregnant, being a dog bather, is relatively low risk. You're really just washing the dogs. There might be a dog or two that doesn't want their nails trimmed, but essentially it's pretty low risk. So anyway, I did that, and I would say by July or August, my significant other had decided to partake in the illegal sale of narcotics. So he was down in the city, and I'm pretty sure most of you know Baltimore City is very, very famous for illegal narcotics. So at that point, that's what he was doing. He got into some kind of territory debate with someone else that was also selling narcotics, and unfortunately that person attacked him and he was in the hospital. So my significant other is not from this part of Maryland. He's from a different part. So his mother came from where he's from, drove all the way up to Baltimore City, got him from the hospital, and took him down to where they live, which is about 3 hours from where I live. So at this point, I am pregnant. He has moved 3 hours away from me. He is not working. I don't know any other way to describe it other than chaos. So he's moved away. So bring my mom into the scenario, because at some point my mom had to find out. My mom actually came to me and was like, okay, what are you guys going to do about it? And being a stupid teenager, of course, I'm trying to like play dumb, like, oh, like what, like do what about what? Anyway, so we talked about it, and I told my mom that if he did not help me, or if he did not get his life on track by the time the baby was born, that I would put the baby up for adoption. Now, mind you, this is my plan. This is my thought pattern, being maybe 4 months pregnant. But as the pregnancy progressed and, you know, I started to feel the baby kick, I started to see ultrasound. I started to really, and then I found out the gender. I started to really form, of course, an attachment, a bond. So I started buying clothes. I started buying things we would need. And eventually my mom saw the things I was doing, and she was like, so you're keeping the baby? And I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping the baby, and I'm not putting her up for adoption. I'm just going to do what I have to do to be the best mom that I can be. And that's what I did. Essentially, my significant other never made it back up here where I lived. He lived 3 hours away then. He still does now. And I had the baby. He missed it. He came up after she was born and stayed in the hospital with me for a couple of days. And then he went back home to where he lives. So at this point, I am on maternity leave, but it's unpaid. And I have this new baby that I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to take care of. So there were a couple of things that happened that helped me survive, I'd say, the first year of her life, particularly the point that the times when I was on maternity leave. One being my biological father came back into my life for a very brief period of time and helped me out financially with her for a very brief period of time. And the other thing that really helped me was I did work. So I filed my income taxes for the prior year. Now, my oldest child was born in December, mid-December. The way taxes work, if your child was born a year before, it doesn't matter if they were born on December 31st, you get credit for that child. So when I filed my taxes, being that I was a part-time worker, I made $6.25 an hour. $6.25. So, you know, being that I was part-time, I got a nice substantial amount of money back, and that helped me to take care of her. I was on WIC, W-I-C. It's a program. I'm not sure if it's nationwide or not, but I know in Maryland It's for children and pregnant women and families that are low income, that are at risk of being like malnourished if they don't have the things that they need, like milk, cereal, vegetables, like they provide you with all that kind of stuff. And I also got vouchers for baby formula, because you have to think, when you are making $6.25 an hour and daycare is $250 a week, you do the math on that. By the time you get your paycheck and pay daycare, you have nothing left. So for a little while, the state was giving me daycare vouchers as well. So I've got my income taxes, I've got WIC, I've got daycare vouchers. Eventually, the state did come to me and say, hey, you have to put your child's father on child support, or we are going to, we're taking your vouchers away. At that point, and even to this day, I was not interested in putting him on child support. That was not, it just wasn't anything I was interested in. And even at that point, he was still in our lives. Like, he was coming up every weekend to visit. So I didn't feel like that was necessary at that point in time. So the daycare vouchers got taken away. But fortunately for me, I was afforded the opportunity to go to dog grooming school, where I learned that craft, and I was able to go from making $6.25 an hour to $600 or $700 a week, because the company I work for does pay weekly. So that's a very large jump, making that $625 to $600 to $700 a week. So once that happened and I became a full-time employee, I was able to get health care, and that was very, very important to me, because when my oldest child was born, I did not have health care. I was not educated about the kind of services that I was eligible for. So when I took her to the pediatrician, I had to pay for those visits out of pocket. And we're talking $250, $300 and above every visit, especially if she needed vaccination. So that was a very hard thing for me to do those first couple months of her life, because she was born December 2008, and then I went to grooming school April 2009. So I would say the first 8 months of her life, that was strictly me and the man upstairs, because I don't know how, and my mom, of course, my mom and my sister, and having that family support. So those three things: going to groom school, God, and my family. Without the three of them, I don't know what would have happened to the two of us. A lot of times I had to work on the weekends, because my job, that's just the nature of the profession. You work on the weekends. So I would have my daughter in daycare Monday through Friday, and my mom would watch her on the weekends. So it was just really, it was really, really hard. Like, even just like thinking about it, like, literally makes me want to cry. Thinking about like where I came from, to where I am now. So anyway, let's get back on track. Once I became a full-time dog groomer, I was able to get health care. I was able to have a good amount of money coming in. I was able to get a car eventually. I mean, there were just so many things that were better for us when I did become a full-time dog groomer. And that is something that I have not really, I just haven't given it up, because time and time again, it's been like my saving grace. I worked there for so many years and just made so many relationships, with the dogs, with their owners. A lot of the girls that were in my wedding were girls that I met through working with the dogs and working with that profession. So it really has had such like a big impact on my life. But anyway, to get back to the teen mom thing. So by a certain point, my significant other, within the first year of Amara's life, stopped helping me. He was not giving me money. He was not coming to visit. He was not doing anything. And then the year following, when she was, I think, almost turning 2, he did end up being incarcerated for a crime that I'm not even gonna get into what it was, but he was incarcerated, and he wrote me letters from prison. And by that point, I was just like, it was obvious to me that I was going to be the only one that was going to hustle and do what I had to do for my child. And that's what I did. I kind of just left it at that. And I have never chased him down or harassed him about being a part of her life. I feel like that is what he should be doing. That is his job. That's his responsibility. And at the end of the day, I don't have to answer for his sins, I only have to answer for mine. So the last time he saw her was when she was a year old, and she's turning 12 this year. So that is 11 years of absence. That's 11 years of no real effort. That is just 11 years of you straight up rolled out on your kid. And I'm not saying this to be down on him, but I'm kind of saying it to be like, this is the reality of life. It happened to me. My own father has been absent from my life, and it happens to a lot of kids, and it's just life. Sometimes people don't make the right choices, and it really does take so much out of you harboring that anger. And I read something that said, you don't forgive people for them, you forgive them for you, so that you can have that peace. So I have forgiven my father for what he has done. I have forgiven her father for what he has done. But I also accept that that will be something that she will have to deal with when she gets a little bit older, dealing with those feelings of rejection. Because you do. You feel rejected. You feel like, why doesn't this person want me? Is it me? Is it something I've done wrong? I could go through a whole slew of like emotions of what you feel when a parent abandons you. But again, it's just, that's life. This is life. We all go through something. It's just how life goes. So anyway, moving forward, for a really long time, it was just me and my oldest. And like, I dated guys in between my husband, but they never had a relationship with Amar. It's kind of just been like, they had a relationship with me, and it wasn't serious enough that we needed to start like functioning like a family unit. So anyway, moving forward to 2013, my husband, and so I met my husband when we were 10, but I'm not going to get into our marriage story because I think that's a story that we should probably, a video we should do together. But anyway, 2013, we reconnected, we started dating, and the three of us have pretty much been a family unit since then. I mean, we started dating in 2013, but we had our son in 2015. So we've been a family for quite a while, and I'm not going to say it's been without its challenges, its struggles. Of course it has. We were 23 when we reconnected, and we were in two different places because I was a single mother and he was a single person. So that's two separate things, but we brought them together, and we're better for it, quite frankly. We are better together, and that's not to say that I don't wish that Amar's dad was in her life, because I do feel like it's good too for your biological parent to have a relationship with you. But do I feel like I've made a family unit without him? Yes, because essentially what choice did I have? Through everything that I've been through with Amar, you know, she had pneumonia when she was 2. I have been through everything with her, and he has been through nothing. So when my husband came around and I then had that person to lean on, again, I don't feel any guilt for making a family, you know, aside from her biological dad, because there was just nothing else I could do. I could either, you know, hang on to it or just move on, and I chose to move on and still try to give my daughter that family structure, that family ideal that I just never had. I knew from childhood I wanted my children to see the typical mother and the father household. And then it's also like my teen mom story is kind of going to be like something I use as a learning tool for her. I don't talk about it right now because she's too young, but when she's old enough to understand what it means to be obedient to God when it comes to waiting for marriage, you know, to be sexually active when it comes to doing drugs, when it comes to all these types of things, I can use my experiences as a learning tool for her. And it's one of those things where I know God led me on the path I was on to make me who I am today. So I am grateful for everything I've been through, and I'm grateful for the person I am now, because I feel like I'm a better person. I'm a stronger person. And then I can be a stronger person and a better mother and a better example for my kids. So this video is already 10 billion trillion years long. I'm so sorry if you stuck through it, through all of it. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on and dig up all my old wounds for you. The next video is gonna be more lighthearted, more just more lighthearted, not necessarily about like every terrible thing I've ever been through. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching and hearing me out. I hope this story will serve as inspiration for you. If you've been through something, just to show you that you can get through it. You really can. Okay, enough rambling. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.